morning, children. Today we are going to start the new poem, that is Childhood. It has been written by Markus. You know, he was born on 23rd of June 1975 and he is an Australian writer. On the basis of same poem, I have given you one quotation, that is, childhood is the most beautiful memory that can't be replaced. Yes, children, childhood is the wonderful period of everyone's life. You know, childhood is the golden period in everyone's life. You can't compare childhood with anyone, with any stage of life. You can't, compare the childhood. Now, before starting the poem, let us do the vocabulary. That is seized. Number one, that is seized. Seized means completed. In first paragraph, this word has been used, so it means completed. Next is realized. Realized means understood. Next is preached. Preach means teach. Teach or lecture, you can say. Next one is whichever. Whichever means any. And the last one is infant. Means that is very small boy. Now this poem has been divided into 4 stanzas. In the first 3 stanzas, the poet is asking question to himself that when did his childhood go? In the last paragraph, he has shifted his question from when to where. That is, where has he lost his childhood? Now, let us continue the poem. Children, open your textbook. I hope that you all have your books. Let us start the poem. Okay, see the paragraph number 1. Let me read the lines. That is, when did my childhood go? Was it the day I ceased to be 11? Or was it the time I realized that hell and heaven could not be found in geography and therefore could not be, was that the day? In this paragraph, the poet is asking question to himself. That is, when did his childhood go? He is asking himself that whether he ceased means completed. When he completed his 11 years or he became 11 years old, whether it was the time that he lost his childhood or when he understood, when he realized that hell and heaven could not be found in geography. That is, hell and heaven like thing is not there on the globe or in the world. So whether that was the day that he lost his childhood. So in paragraph 1, he is asking 2 questions to himself. That is, maybe he has lost his childhood when he become 11 years old or when he understood that hell and heaven like thing is not there on this globe. Now, let me read the next paragraph. When did his childhood go? Was it the time I realized that adults were not all they seemed to be? They talked of love and preached of love, but did not act so lovingly. Was that the day? Okay, now in this passage, in this paragraph, the poet is asking question to himself that whether it was the time he lost his childhood when he came to know that adults are double standard, they are hypocrites, they teach love, they preach love, but they never act lovingly. Means they are not truthful at all. When he understood the hypocrisy of adult, whether it was the day that he lost his childhood. Now, let me read the next stanza. That is, when did my childhood go? Was it when I found my mind was really mine to use whichever way I choose, producing thoughts that were not those of other people but my own and my alone. Was that the day? Now he is asking question to himself whether he lost his childhood when he started producing his own ideas, when he started thinking independently without his adults, he stopped working according to the mind of the elder people, whether it was the time that he lost his childhood or whether when he could use his mind whichever way I choose, means he was free to use his mind in any way. So maybe it was the time that he lost his childhood. Means he is not sure that when he lost his childhood. And in the last paragraph, he has shifted his question from what to where. Sorry, when to where. Means where he has lost his childhood. And now he is concluding himself and he is saying, what he is saying? Let me read the lines first of all. Where did my childhood go? It went to some forgotten place that is hidden in an infant's face. That's all I know. Yes, he is saying, he is concluding himself. That is where he has lost his childhood. Maybe his childhood has lost at some forgotten place. Forgotten means at some unknown place. It might have hidden in the face of the child, of infant. Infant, innocence is there in the face of the child. So he is saying that when he lost his own innocency, that may be the time that his childhood has lost, or it might have lost in the face of an infant, that is newborn baby. Okay, so here he is concluding himself, that is he might have lost his childhood in the face of innocent child. So here ends our poem. Okay children, let me explain you the poetic devices of the poem. Okay, now this poetic devices are five. Five poetic devices are there. Okay, so first poetic device, let me tell you, that is refrain. Okay, let me rub the board first of all so that you can understand it clearly. Okay, so first figure of speech is refrain. In this poem again and again we have used line, that is, where did my childhood go? Where did my childhood go? Where did my childhood go? When the same phrase or the same sentence is repeated again and again, then that figure of speech is called as refrain, or you can call it repetition. Okay, now second one is antithesis. Antithesis. What is antithesis? Antithesis is when two opposite ideas are put together. For example, hell and heaven. Whether it was the time that he understood that hell and heaven like thing do not exist in the geography. Okay, so it is antithesis. Now alliteration. Alliteration, you all know, when consonant sounds are there, that is at the nearby words, that is called as the alliteration. Now there is alliteration, children. Alliteration in my mind, whichever way, that day. Okay, so see here, the consonant sound, my, m sound is there. Here whichever way, and here that day. So when consonant sounds are there, that is near to the, when words are nearby, then and consonant sound is there, then that figure of speech is called as the alliteration. And the next one is inversion. Inversion. Inversion means when normal order, sentence is not in its normal order. For example, whichever way I choose. Okay, in the last paragraph, in the third paragraph, we have seen, that is, I am reading once more, to use whichever way I choose. Okay, normal word order is, I choose whichever way to use. This is normal word order, but we have not used it in that way. Okay, so that is inversion. Have you understood? That is to use whichever way to use. So here it is inversion, because the normal word order is not there. Okay, and the last one is enjambment. Okay, the last one is enjambment. You know what is enjambment? When punctuation marks are not there in the same line, enjambment. When punctuation mark is not there in the same line and the same idea is continued in the second line, then that figure of speech is called as enjambment. Okay, you can see in the poem. Okay, you can see yourself in the poem, in the second paragraph you can see. not in second but third paragraph you can see, that is producing thoughts that were not those of other people but my own and my alone. So the sentence does not complete with the other people, it is continuing with the second line also. Then that figure of speech is called as enjambment. Okay, so now here ends our poem. Children, here four stanzas are there. In the first stanza, that is what has been shown. Can you tell me? In the first stanza, that is rationalism has been. Now, in the second stanza, hypocrisy of adults has been shown. In the third stanza, individuality of the child has been shown. That is when child started thinking independently. Then that is the time that he lost his childhood. And in the last paragraph, in the last stanza, he is concluding the poem himself saying that his childhood has lost at some forgotten place of the forgotten place, or maybe lost in the face of the infant. So children, here ends our poem. Okay, so keep revising, keep practicing, and thank you and have a nice day.